Hey everybody, and welcome to the Indie Guy. I'm the Indie Guy, Jonathan Moody, and I'm here to give you guys the third video of this Sunday. It's going to be a throwback Sunday today for this particular episode. And this particular episode, I'm going to be talking all about Are You Afraid of the Dark? One of my favorite TV shows from when I was a kid, and I'm going to give you my top 10. So please, underneath the comments, list your top 10, or if you just want to list your favorite episodes, period, if you don't have a top 10, please feel free to. The first episode I want to talk about is from the first season, and this is going to be number 10. I'm going to go from 10 to 1. Number 10 is Tale of the Pinball Wizard. Basically, this kid is playing pinball at this local arcade in the mall, and then somehow or another, all of a sudden it's night, and he doesn't know what happened, and all the doors are locked, and he finds out he's actually inside the pinball game. And I always thought that was really cool. It was an actual pinball thing with a pinball coming down and everything. I just that was at the end or something. There was a pinball, but it had all the typical pinball things. I really liked that episode. Number 9 is Tale of the Quicksilver. Tatiana Emily from The Fresh Prince is in it, and she's cute as ever in it. And basically, it was this episode where she played this girl who, I guess, her long lost grandmother or something or whatever, some relative had died in her house. And basically, she has to kind of solve what happened because of this ghost stuff using this Quicksilver pendant that she had. It's pretty cool. Number 8, Tale of the Long Ago Locket. It's a Civil War, time travel episode with Will Friedle from Boy Meets World. Love it. Love that episode. Very cool. I always love, time travel episodes. So there's actually a couple on here that are time travel ones. Number 7 is Tale of the Station 109.1. This is one of the first episodes that had Ryan Gosling in it. I think Ryan was maybe in 2 episodes. So this was one of the ones that he's in on it. And I really enjoyed it. Also, Gilbert Gottfried's in the episode. It's really weird. It's about this radio station, and this guy hears the radio station. He's not supposed to hear I guess if you hear it, you die, you're dead, and he's not actually dead. So there's some kind of mess up. It's kind of like Beetlejuice-ish, I guess. So Tale of the Dead Man's Float, number 6. I remember this one being scary as hell when I was a kid. And I rewatched it. It's actually really creepy. There's this zombie guy that comes out of the pool, and it's pretty much what it says, Dead Man's Float. It's a swimming pool at a high school, and this zombie comes out and everything. It's pretty neat. You gotta check it out. Number 4, Tale of the Midnight Madness. This is going to my... Oh, wait. Hold on. I skipped 5. Tale of the Frozen Ghost. This is actually one of my favorites. So this top 5 is going to be my real serious top 5. Top 5, number 5 is Tale of the Frozen Ghost, which involves, Clarissa Explains It All's Melissa Joan Hart. She plays a, I guess, a babysitter who's watching this bratty kid who's, rich and everything, and he doesn't understand how to play outside and enjoy himself and things like that. And so he ends up going out into the outside, and he sees this frozen ghost outside his window and things like that, and it's just kind of creepy. And they have to figure out how to send it, soul up to heaven or wherever the soul went to, and solve it. So it was pretty cool. 4 is the Tale of the Midnight Madness. One of my favorites, period. Love this one. It's got Nosferatu, and it's got Dr. Vink with the ver. Love that guy. He's hilarious and one of my favorite characters. And I love him, and I love the next guy I'm going to be talking about in a second. They're reoccurring characters, and he'll pop up in a bunch of them. He popped up in the first one, the Phantom Cab. He was a reoccurring character that Frank talked about. Frank would, every time Frank would do one story specifically, he would have Dr. Vink in there, so it was kind of cool. And then in the fourth season, they had like a crossover. Now, I'll get to that later because it's one of my favorite episodes. So, and then basically, parts into the Midnight Madness, like this owner of this retro old school theater, basically it's going out of business, and the owner's about to like just call it quits, and the kids are pretty much looking for another job. There's only two kids, there's a black kid and a white girl, and they both, the black guy likes the white girl and everything, and so there's like the little love subplot, which was really weird because it like didn't go anywhere or anything. So it was just kind of like, okay, let's just throw a love interest in there. But then all of a sudden, there was Dr. Vink comes in and tries to save the thing by showing some of his old films that he, I guess he produced or something, or directed, I don't know. He shows Nosferatu, and I'm like thinking, is he supposed to be the producer of Nosferatu or something? But anyway, it was like a Nosferatu kind of thing, and when it's a success and everything's going really well, the owner of it reneges on agreeing that he could show a bunch of his films, and all of a sudden, Dr. Vink gives him this big old creepy laugh and says, oh, okay, that's fine, if you don't, and then disappears. Whoops. This keeps happening. But anyway, so he disappears, and it is freaking crazy after that. Like, the Nosferatu comes out of the theater and stuff like that. It's just really creepy. Loved it as a kid. Still love it today. I will watch that episode anytime, any day. Alright, number 3 is The Tale of the Carved Stone. Now, this one had the Riddler from the original Batman movies, which was like Frank Gorshin. And he plays this like really creepy sorcerer who wants like this carved stone. And the Mr. Sardo, who is like one of the reoccurring characters that Gary always does, he says, he's like, no mister, accent on the dough. Like, he has to make sure people say that. And he tells them, well, the carved stone is basically magical. It brings you back in time. So they go back in time to when the other house was there, or whatever, of this girl who picked up the stone. And she goes back in time, and basically both of those kids have to help Sardo, or Sardo has to help both those kids kind of get rid of, the stuff and deal with the sorcerer. It's pretty cool. I love that episode. Tale of the Cutters, I always want to say The Cutters, but it's Tale of Cutters, because Cutter is his name, Treasure. So, Tale of Cutters Treasure is number 2, and that is the 2-parter episode that was like a crossover with Sardo and Dr. Vink. So I had both of those characters in one episode, and I thought that was pretty cool. It was basically Charles S. Dutton plays this pirate who is looking for his treasure, and the only ones who know how to basically find it, I think it's basically another time travel one. Basically the ones who have to find are these kids, these two little brothers, and, both of them don't like each other, which is actually a reoccurring theme in Are You Afraid of the Dark? Like, I think Tale of the Phantom Cab had, like, 2 brothers who don't get along, and I think there's other ones that have, like, brothers and sisters who don't get along, and things like that. I guess that's just how they viewed how brothers or brothers and sisters acted. There was never really that many sisters and sisters. Though there was one with the 2 chicks from Sisters that were, but that was a really weird chameleon one. I liked it, but it wasn't on my top 10. So yeah, Cutter's Treasure was really cool. I love that one. Next is The Midnight Ride, Tale of the Midnight Ride, and that is obviously like my favorite. Favorite. It's basically the Sleepy Hollow story. This kid moves to Sleepy Hollow, and, these kids basically say, oh, well, the Headless Horseman's going to get you, basically, if you go down this path, and all of a sudden, he tries it, and it was just a prank and everything, but then the real horseman shows up and comes after them and everything like that. And it's really awesome. It's actually one of my favorite adaptations of Sleepy Hollow. I gotta rewatch the Tim Burton one, which I was not a fan of when it first came out. I think I was expecting, more actually straight from the book and stuff like that, and it was one of my favorite books. So I was just really just kind of disappointed by it. But yeah, that's my top 10. The Midnight Ride one, because it was my favorite, it was the one I watched when I was like, I think it was like the third season, and it was like the first episode of that. I was watching it at a friend's house, and my friend had just moved to like Newport News, Virginia, and we were walking around, like we watched it, and I remember loving it. And then I wanted to see it years later, and it's still my number one favorite episode. I don't know what it is. I think it's the Sleepy Hollow part, but I love it. I've started watching Are You Afraid of the Dark when I was a kid, when it first started coming out, and it had the Twisted Claw. I remember that episode being like my first introduction into it, and it's just obviously one of my favorite shows. So if you like this video, give it a like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram at @INDIE _ guy. Well, thank you guys so much for checking this out. Tell me what your favorite Are You Afraid of the Dark episodes are, and come back every Sunday. I'm going to do a Throwback Sunday, so I'm going to be talking about different throwback things of nostalgia. So today was Are You Afraid of the Dark. Who knows what next week will be? Only I know right now, but I'm not going to tell until you guys see it on Sunday. So thank you guys so much. Hope you guys enjoyed the show, and tune in tomorrow, because I'll have more episodes coming tomorrow. Bye.